What is up, world? We are back. Bartley and Barnes, your favorite show on the internet, is back. We took a little hiatus, but we are here to do it. I am Jacob Bartley. That is Keith Barnes. Just how are you, man?
Good. I'm good. We're back. I'm happy. Been waiting to get back in it. You and your stupid school.
I know, right? It's
stupid.
Yes.
Education, trying to be a better person.
Unimportant, irrelevant education gaining. Yes, I agree. It is kind of stupid, but I am done with it for now, at least for the summer. So I'm.
How was it?
It takes a while. It takes a while to hit you, like when school ends, because you're in that mode where you're like doing assignments every spare second you get, and now it's gone. It was actually pretty good. Like obviously I do not wish that this quarantine thing happened, but it made it easier for me to do homework. So that was a silver lining, I guess. Because I was just home. Like before, there were other options as distractions, right? Like going to the movies, going to hang out with friends, going out to dinner, whatever the case may be. But there were no other options, so
can't do anything.
It was like just do my homework, which was it. And it was so brutal, man. And we're going to be talking about Jordan here in a minute, but I had my Jordan in Game 6 against the Jazz. I think it was for their 5th title. I had that moment, man. I was not feeling well at all, and I had to call out from work. But I had a 6-page essay due that day, and I had to write an essay sick. And it was I don't know how I did it, but I did it, and I pulled through. So that's a good thing, I guess. But yeah, man, we're planning to get back on schedule every 2 weeks. I think the plan is, because we pre-record these for now. Maybe later on in the future we'll go live. But so my plan is to get these out every other Thursday night at 6 p.m. So we'll record sometime earlier in the week, get them out at 6 p.m. every Thursday night or every other Thursday night. And that'll be the plan for now. But yes, today we are mainly focusing on Michael Jordan's, the Michael Jordan documentary, The Last Dance. And we are also going to talk about other things we've been watching while in quarantine, and we're going to do our homework assignments and our literature suggestions. And we do have some guests today, some surprise guests, so that is going to be fun. Real quick, before we go down to The Last Dance, I just watched Scoob last night.
Did you?
The new Scooby-Doo movie.
What
it's
made you watch that?
Why?
Yes.
Because it's a new movie.
You like that first one. You like Scooby-Doo.
Well, here. I guess I know I talked about the live action Scooby-Doo movie. It's like one of my favorites as a kid. Yeah. But like I'm not a big Scooby-Doo fan in general.
Okay.
There's no new movies coming out really. It's rare. So we had this and Capone come out, and I'm gonna watch Capone as well. I haven't yet.
I forgot about Capone. That's all
right. I was just hanging out with my lady friend, and we were like, let's rent Scoob and eat some dinner. And for me, I justify it like, look, I can't go to the movie theaters, so I'll pay to rent this.
Oh yeah,
like cheaper anyway. So it worked out. And Scoob was okay. Like if kids will enjoy it, like young kids will enjoy it. It was very interesting. They did some weird stuff with the mythology, and it was actually there were some adult jokes, really adult jokes in that movie.
Really?
And I was like, I can't believe they just said that in a kid's movie, but they do. Scooby-Doo does that sometimes because Shaggy and Scooby are supposed to be stoners
100%.
and all that stuff. So it was fun. Like if you have kids, if you have 3 kids and you want something for them to do, it's a fun rent. But
throw that on. Yeah.
Not there's so many other options out there that it's not necessary. It's not good enough to warrant being able to, hey, we got our overlay in. We got a ghost engineer working on stuff for us.
Yes.
The Force Ghost Engineer. That's his name.
Yes.
So, all right. So let's get into, man, I want to leave the overlay up now because bringing in a guest is going to have us get rid of the overlay. So, You and I were big basketball fans, big NBA fans.
Yes, sir.
I mean, and who's not a Michael Jordan fan to some extent? Like, even if you're not a Bulls fan or from Chicago or anything like that, it's just like, if you're a fan of basketball, you're a fan of Michael Jordan. I feel like they're kind of synonymous together. And this 10-episode documentary had just wrapped up this past Sunday, and I just finished it today, and we're going to go ahead and talk about it. And to join us for this will be Mr. Gio Ramos here. Let's go ahead and bring Gio in. What is up, Gio?
Hey.
What's up, guys? How you guys doing?
Pretty good, man. How are you?
Oh, good. It's a very exciting day for other reasons, but I'm excited to talk about The Last Dance. I'm kind of sad it's over.
A Celtics sweater for a Bulls discussion?
Yeah, it's not just a Bulls discussion. It's the greatest of all time.
Yeah, there was in the last episode, his last interaction with Larry Bird was very funny, if you remember that.
Yeah.
Dude, they do not hold back. This is an ESPN documentary, so that means it's a Disney documentary. I'm so glad they decided to not hold back on the language and all that stuff, because it just felt so real. Yeah. It felt very real to me. And like you said, Gio, I'm kind of sad it's over. It kind of became an event type thing. Like, it had that feel of like Game of Thrones, where we're waiting for it to come out every Sunday.
Yeah.
So Gio, let's start with you, man. How did you like it?
Well, after watching it, I can say that it's one of the best documentaries that I've ever seen. I can't say it's one of the best sports documentaries because I just haven't seen that many. But with this one in particular, I think it was just so well done. It was well worth the wait. It lived up to the hype. It's everything that you wanted as a basketball fan, especially during a time like this where sports are absent and they're missed by, pretty much everyone who appreciates sports. It gave some authentic, honest insight into basketball during that time in the late 80s, 90s, what the game was like then and how it compares to today. Really, that's more on our part as fans, as consumers. We just naturally compare that and, make our own verdicts, whatnot. But I got to say, I really enjoyed it. Thing I enjoyed the most was probably the way the storytelling was done. I believe the term is non-linear storytelling, where it tells a little bit, but then it jumps back, and then it tells a little bit, and then it meets at the very end.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I thought that was so well done, and the character profiles of each Bulls player, of the main Bulls players and the coach, I thought was well done. It was perfectly placed. And, yes, I'm a Celtics fan, but, I can say after watching this documentary, I have a greater appreciation for Michael Jordan. For me, like I said earlier, he is the greatest of all time.
Yeah, that's the general consensus among sport or basketball fans for the most part. And I remember as a kid, Michael Jordan games being on TV. But I was born in 91, so I was born when he was winning championships. I think he won his first one in 91. Mm-hmm. And I really do. I can picture being at my grandma's house and seeing Michael Jordan games on TV, but I wasn't old enough to process it. So this was kind of like living this for the first time for me. Like, I felt like in a way I was just watching all the highlights of not just the actual games, but the commentary on the games. Of the sports announcers and the analysts and stuff talking about everything that was going on. And we just got a summed up version of it basically. And I loved that because look, there's not a lot going on right now. And even though I know he won 6 championships, and when they were going over certain years, I knew they were going to win, but seeing how they won and the circumstances surrounding it were really great. Each season had a different hurdle they had to get through, a different problems they had to get through. And there's so much stuff I did not know, and we'll get to that in a second. But I honestly love this so much. I was so after like the third and fourth episode, I was so excited to watch it every Sunday. So Keith, for somebody who was able to like knew what was going on at the time, how did you perceive this documentary series?
I don't even know where to start, man. It was really, I loved it. Best. I'm a big sports documentary guy. I love all the 30 for 30s. I love HBO's documentaries. Until this one, it might still be close. My favorite one was the Magic, A Courtship of Rivals, the one with Magic Johnson and Larry Bird.
Oh wow, I need to watch that.
Absolutely, it's on HBO, and it is awesome. Awesome one. There's one on Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is really good as well. This one is right up there, if not being it's 10 parts. So being as a series, it's a little bit different because you get a lot more, goes way more in depth, and a lot of this was stuff. Just being the huge NBA basketball guy that I am, and Michael Jordan stuff that a lot of it was stuff that I knew, and there were stuff that I didn't know, and stuff that or I either didn't know or forgotten about or didn't know as much about, but they went way more. This is the most I've ever seen or listened to of Michael Jordan talk or telling stories. I was one of those guys. I used to get all the Jordan. It used to have NBA Entertainment used to make those videos, like those VHS videos of Michael Jordan airtime or his airness or Come Fly With Me or those videos like that. And you get a little bit of background into who he is as a person, but it wasn't like this stuff. Like you see him yelling at people, you see him berating teammates or making fun of people, and those were stuff you would just hear from stories from other people, like Bartley or whoever. But stuff you hear like in sports radio, because I listen to a lot of sports radio as well. But I was telling my son, he's 15, he's getting ready to turn 16 in a few weeks, and so I was his age when a lot of all this was happening. And there's nothing like just experiencing all this in real time. Like there hasn't been anything like it in sports. Like I know Jacob, you're a big Laker guy, and I'm sure it was a lot of fun at your age watching Lakers win in the title.
Oh yeah,
they won. Yeah, and I can say that was kind of coming right at the edge of this, kind of at the tail end of the NBA's. I don't want to say popularity, but it wasn't quite like it was, man, in the 90s when it just gets that whole, whole like amalgamation of events like pop culture and music and MTV and all this stuff, cable and everything blowing up, and then sports like Michael Jordan raised that up several levels, man, and it was huge, and it was everywhere you go is Bulls jerseys and people just. They're like the basketball version of America's team, and just the way what I got from watching this is, and I don't try not to ramble, but like he's the greatest. Like the way his attitude about, I always knew he was a type A, driven maniac, but like he's man, like he said, win at all costs type of guy, and I always knew that about him, but. You hear the stories about how competitive he was, but the way he pushed people and pushed his teammates to get to his level so that they could win. A lot of, like I didn't know it as in depth as what we saw. So it was a great documentary. I really loved it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like everybody has their opinion about who the greatest of all time is, and it's usually up down to 2 or 3 names, But this makes if you weren't saying Jordan, it makes you rethink it. Like it really does, because I go back and forth between LeBron, Duncan, and Jordan. And I think any given day, any 3 of those could be considered the greatest of all time. But I don't know, just seeing the way he is in this documentary, like, it's crazy how, and he easily could have won more. Like, easily. Not easily, but I think he could have won more.
No, I think easily is the right word. I mean, he left right in the middle of his prime. He could have. Now, when you say more, that means at least one more,
one or two more,
and possibly. Take your pick.
Like if he didn't retire in between or after.
That first time? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know about the after. I'm not 100% because he was looking, and I'm glad, and they pointed it out on the last episode.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But he was looking tired. I remember watching it. Me and my dad watching that game. Like he wasn't getting the lift on his shot.
But one thing that you have to keep in mind was the following season was the lockout, so a good chunk of the season was already,
That's true.
not accounted for.
One thing,
so
you're right. But what happened that following year, he cut his hand on a cigar cutter, and he would have missed. You would have missed most of that season, if not all of it, anyway.
Hey, the Bulls get in as the 8th seed in the East.
Sure,
Are
the Knicks did.
Are you bet against them?
Yeah, well, if they get in, no, definitely not.
Right.
But,
Yeah. So, what are? Let's start with you, Gio. What are some of the things that just absolutely shocked you or surprised you that you did not know?
Well, for me, it's just getting a more in-depth look of the game during that time, and specifically the Bad Boy Pistons MJ rivalry that happened in 88, 89, and 90. And just, I heard stories about Michael Jordan getting pushed around and, it being a very physical game for him, way more physical than today's game. But to actually see the footage and hear from the players on the Pistons side,
they beat him up.
What they were instructed to do, and just again in depth, and just like, wow, like that was allowed back then. Like this was the game of basketball back then.
Yeah,
and for me, that was probably the most surprising thing about it. And I said in depth as far as rivalries with players and whatnot, but also the people around Jordan and around, the main Bulls players, who they surrounded themselves with. For Michael Jordan specifically, the episode where he breaks down, after winning the championship when his father passes away, we've seen that before, but to have context and, understand on a emotional level, like what he's going through, like, maybe not like understand all the way, but to feel a little bit of that emotion of what he's going through. And that's just a testament to the documentary, taking its time and taking us through his journey that year of what he went through. And for me, those were just some of the best moments.
Awesome. Yeah. So speaking of his father, to be honest with you guys, I didn't even know about that. I didn't know that his father was
murdered,
first gone missing and then found to be murdered. I had no idea. And for me, it can you imagine not knowing that and watching this and then seeing, I'm like, wait a minute, because I'm kind of multitasking while I'm watching it, and I'm like, what is going on? And I just hooked onto the screen. I had no idea about this. This changes my whole perspective on Michael Jordan. So you have this big mega superstar just taking over the world, and then this happens, and they speculate on stuff behind the scenes, but just in general, I can't believe that. Hollywood doesn't write more dramatic stories than this. It's crazy. Right. And I Gio, were you well aware that his father passed away?
Well, I was aware of the passing, but I didn't know exactly how it happened, and what's even more crazy, to your point, Jacob, is that it could have happened to anybody. He just pulled over to the side of the road, took a nap, and next thing you know, his life is over. What if he decided not to drive or whatnot? It's crazy to think about.
Or we just check into a hotel or something, or
right?
Yeah, I can't. Now thinking that in the middle of Jordan's reign, he had to deal with that just makes me look at everything differently regarding him. It's crazy. So another thing that I didn't know that surprised me was that he came back at the end of the year before they won their fourth title.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that. And I'm like, really? He actually came back and they lost.
It was about maybe 17 games left.
That's crazy.
Like that. Yeah.
So they had an almost 500 record, and then he comes back. They make the playoffs, and they lose in the playoffs, I believe.
The Eastern Conference.
Yeah, and
second round to the Pacers.
I really had no idea, and I think baseball had gone on a strike, and they were asking him to come play as a backup player or something, and he was like, "Hell no!" Like and it's so weird to me. Like it's so weird seeing the most dominant man in the sport go to be like a no one in another sport. Like so weird.
And he seemed to enjoy it. Like he went from being the man and obviously the most dominant basketball player to just being one of the guys.
Yeah.
On a baseball team, and he seemed to really, like he said, he enjoyed that. He liked.
Yeah, I remember and there's a lot of that footage of him just like hanging out with the baseball players in the locker room, and he looked like he was having a blast.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He said they travel by bus. He said he didn't want it to be anything more special than anyone else. He said they would drive all night on the bus, check into a little seedy motel, and it's so crazy to think that's Michael Jordan.
Can you imagine those like
the stories from those other guys,
those AA players that were just hanging out with them and stuff. Something else that stood out to me was the Pippen stuff, man. Like there's never been another athlete and that I can think of who is underpaid and underappreciated. Maybe not underappreciated because people knew the value of Pippen, but like underpaid. It's so messed up. I'm sure he had got paid eventually by the Blazers or whatever, but
that's wound up making a signing trade. So I know he went to Houston for a year.
Yeah, he signed a 3-year, $60-something million deal with Houston.
Oh, okay.
So he got paid, but
he played 1 year with them, and he didn't get along with Bartley, so they traded him to Portland. So,
but all those years though, he had like a 7-year, like $18 million contract.
Yep,
and that is crazy.
Stuff like that is why they had that lockout. Is because they're like, we're not signing contracts like this anymore. This is ridiculous.
And I mean, Pippen was definitely top 10 in the league at that time, and
he could have like $2 million a year or something crazy.
He could have like. I don't necessarily know whether a Pippen-led team would have won championships if they played together long enough, but like he could have been a contender. Like he could have led a contender at least. So that was crazy to me. And then just seeing how and Jordan was kind of a bully to his teammates, but not to be a bully. I don't know a better way to explain it, but he pushed them so hard, and did not hold back. And part of that is like, whoa, dude, calm down. But then it's like, that's the reason why they won.
100%. That's
why they were so great. So those are some of the things that stood out to me. Keith, was there anything else that shocked you or surprised you?
Most of the stuff that I didn't really know, like the stuff Gio mentioned was, like you mentioned, just the stuff about like the people Jordan had around him. Like his security guys. He had a close relationship with all the security guards at the stadium. Like the one security guard that got cancer or whatever, and then he like took care of him, and they were really
like a father figure. Yeah,
it was all that stuff. Like I never knew any of that. Never had any idea about any of that stuff. So it's cool to get that story, and like there's a lot of the stuff I always kind of heard over the years. And certainly the practice stuff, like just watching the practice. Like I knew he was one of those players that took practice as intensely as games because it was important, but I didn't know it was like I knew about the flight with Steve Kerr. I'd heard that story before.
Oh, I heard that too. Yeah. Oh, you know what was cool? How he would have players come out while he was filming Space Jam, and like have those games, those pickup games.
That must have been awesome.
Man, I wish that footage existed of those pickup games.
I know.
Yeah, that could be a whole thing by itself.
Yeah.
That'd be so cool. And man, Jordan and these Bulls, they ruined so many like players' chances of getting a championship.
Exactly.
Like, because it's more spread out normally. If you look at another decade, some decades are more spread out among players. And like, Charles Barkley could have had one. The Jazz could have had one.
Pat Ewing.
Not with Jordan playing.
And these are like all-time greats, and they just didn't get the win because of him.
Gary Payton.
Yeah, Gary Payton, Sean. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I absolutely love this documentary. Any last thoughts, Gio, before we let you go, man?
Check it out if you haven't seen it. Even if you're not the biggest basketball fan or sports fan, it's just fascinating. Maybe you'll get a appreciation for the game itself.
Yeah.
And I can't recommend it enough.
Yeah, definitely. It made me want to appreciate the NBA now more. That's what it did for me, because it's like, look, this is the past, but we could have something like this occur again in the future. Like, so gotta appreciate it. When it comes back.
Yeah, exactly. But he himself always said that there'll be another me. I think the closest one. And I was happy to see him show up was Kobe Bryant. I figured maybe they talked to him.
That was cool. I love seeing that.
Yeah, I got a little choked up seeing him. Like, Kobe.
And they probably did all that stuff before he passed. Like had it already ready and everything.
Yeah, he did. He said about a year ago. So
yeah, and that was cool. Like seeing Jordan talk about Kobe in the locker room. He was like, that little Laker boy's like not going to give the ball up.
Right.
Yeah, that's just crazy to put into perspective. All right, Gio. Well, thank you for joining us, man. I appreciate it. That was fun talk. I wanted to get you on this discussion because I know you enjoyed the documentary series as well.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys.
All right. Talk to you later, man.
All right,
guys.
All righty. So, it's doing it again.
there we go.
Oh, well, it has my name, my picture, but your name. But oh well, that works. So that was the Last Dance documentary, Michael Jordan documentary. Go ahead and check it out if you have not. So since that is something we definitely have been watching, but it's only for a couple hours on Sunday. Yeah, we haven't done an episode in over a month. So let's talk about some stuff that we've been watching in quarantine. And to join us in doing that, we're going to bring in Mr. Jake Berlin from Apocaflix Movies. If you guys follow our movie YouTube channel. Hey, Jake Berlin. What is up, man? Your debut on Bartley and Barnes.
It is. Behind the scenes.
Yes. No, it was first episode. He kind of popped in.
I popped in slightly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. But do you like your new name, the Force Ghost Engineer?
Yeah, I like it. I like that. Yeah, that should be my little. That should be my little name right there.
Yeah, on Bartley and Barnes, that'll be your name, Force Ghost Engineer. But yeah, man. So we were just talking about The Last Dance. Have you got a chance to check it out yet?
I have not seen an episode yet.
Oh wow.
So
really?
Yeah,
busy, but
it's hard, and you guys know how much I like my TV too. There's a lot of stuff that I catch up on, and quite honestly, I wanted all of them to be out because I actually want to try to binge it.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Goodness, good call.
I wanted to kind of watch it because you guys know that I'm not the biggest basketball fan. I obviously know about Michael Jordan and everything, but I'm more so baseball, and I know that he had a baseball career and everything, but I wanted a chance to watch it all consecutively and just really get to really take it all in and experience it all in one sitting. So
that's a great idea, because when I was watching it, I was like, oh, it's over each episode. And I was like, now I got to wait a whole week to watch the next one. It just didn't feel right. So
yeah, there's actually a really good, they did a good 30 for 30 about Jordan's baseball career.
I watched that one. I remember that one. Yeah. And I remember watching that. And that's kind of why I wanted to sit down and watch it all at once because of that experience watching that 30 for 30.
Yeah.
Jake, I do recommend watching it, man. I think you would enjoy it, even though you're not the biggest basketball fan.
I'm a sports guy. I'm a sports guy. So yeah.
I think you'll appreciate it. Just seeing the type of person Michael Jordan was.
Cool.
It's insane. But that's not the only thing available to watch during these times. So we wanted to talk about what we actually have been watching. We do recommendations on Apocaflix now, but what have we literally been watching? New releases, stuff we've been wanting to catch up on, anything like that. So have you gotten a chance to watch any of these straight to streaming movies yet?
Yeah, I actually just watched Capone last night. I heard you guys talking about it in the beginning of the show.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet. Give us some quick non-spoiler thoughts.
I saw your tweet about. Did you tweet it or was it Facebook?
Well, look,
yeah, my
I've
tweet,
heard bad
tweet,
things
yeah.
about it, and then I've seen the Rotten Tomatoes score. So,
look, I mean, I don't want to sway your guys' direction or your viewpoint without seeing it. I think Josh Trank is a very talented filmmaker. That when he puts his mind set on something, he's able to capitalize on something. Obviously, with Chronicle, that's not just something someone makes and then is a terrible filmmaker. Like, it's a great film. This movie's terrible.
wow.
This movie, it is not what I expected. It's very different from what I expected, and I understand what he was going for. I get it. It just, yeah, like the best way I can describe it. Tom Hardy, he. It's like he's playing a zombie from The Walking Dead.
I've heard that.
It's yeah, it's just it's very hard to describe. Like, that's why my tweet last night was it's just
I heard it's like older, like fat crazy alcohol.
Well, so
the
like, story.
cool.
So I didn't know this, but did you guys know that Capone didn't die in jail?
No, yeah,
I didn't know this.
I did that.
So he went to jail, but he had like this sickness, and then he essentially aged backwards as a personality, and he became a younger kid, and so they let him out of jail while being watched over the FBI or police or something at his estate. He couldn't leave his estate without any personnel or anything, and so this is the last year of his life. So he's outside of jail. He's not the gangster that was the gangster in Chicago. There's obviously ties a little bit here and there of mentions and a couple of characters who pop in here and there. It's a very hard story to tackle, but specifically the way that Josh Trank told it is very difficult, and the way that he had Tom Hardy play the character, it's very slow. It's a very, very slow movie. And it really is for a particular taste, and unfortunately it just wasn't for me.
Well, yeah, I haven't heard any good things about it, to be honest. I kind of heard what you said, but I'm still gonna watch it because like there's nothing else new to watch, and I'm just curious. Like, I want to see what Josh Trank is what his directing style is now that we haven't seen anything from him since Fantastic Four, right? I mean, but even though he didn't direct that whole movie, like it was taken away from him, and I am rooting for him. I watched an interview with him recently, and like, he just seems like one of us, man, like a young dude, like living the dream, directing movies. So I am rooting for him. So I want to see that. So I'm definitely going to check it out. Thanks for those thoughts, man, because we didn't get a chance to watch it. So there's the Bartley and Barnes review of Capone right there.
Any references to his vault? Any references to the Capone vault? Anything about that?
Not the vault, but there is the story isn't, but a large part of the movie is based around the $10 million that was supposedly never found.
Right.
Yes.
That's what. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's mentioned multiple times.
They should have done a Capone in his prime movie, like with
And I was watching the movie. I was watching the movie. I was telling myself the entire time I was watching, I was like, "Wow, I would love to see Tom Hardy as a prime Al Capone."
Exactly. Yeah, that would have been great. Maybe they'll make a prequel. Who knows?
Maybe. Yeah.
Hey, I recommend. I'll say watch The Untouchables. You'll get Rob De Niro played Capone in really good.
Ooh,
it's a good movie.
Gotta check that out. So Keith, what's one thing that you've watched recently?
Oh, look, sorry. Let me grab my list because I was keeping a list all this time.
There's been so many things, but I picked out a
briefly.
few.
I watched Hobbs and Shaw on HBO.
I just watched that for a second time on HBO.
Oh yeah, you saw it. That's right. You guys actually saw it. It's on. Yeah, it came on HBO. It's maybe a month.
That was your first time watching it, Keith?
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Oh wow.
I told you I don't see those in theater, man. I don't. I always enjoy the Fast and Furious movies at home. Well, I really liked it.
Oh wow.
It's fun, right?
I really liked it.
It's so fun.
It was really good. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was better than the last The last.
It's better than Fast 8 by a mile.
8.
It's
Yeah.
definitely better than Fast 8. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fate of the Furious.
What it's called, but Fate,
Terrible,
yes, right,
terrible title.
But yeah, I thought it was good. It's a little long. It was some parts of it kind of dragged a little, but
I loved every minute of it.
I want to see them again. I hope they make another one.
yeah,
I really want to see them again.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that.
I enjoyed that too, for sure.
They're really trying to be super mysterious with that mysterious voice that was.
Who do you think it is?
I don't know, but it's gonna be someone like a big name. Because they wouldn't do that.
I can tell you who it is.
Oh,
Ryan Reynolds.
See, I thought that, but
so?
I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that as well.
Yeah, I think he'll turn
Maybe.
bad and he'll be the villain of the Hobbit franchise.
Well, he's playing them basically.
And here's even a kicker. I bet you they'll find a way to heal up Kevin Hart. And it's Ryan Reynolds and Kevin Hart versus Dwayne Johnson.
Oh,
all right, I think the voice is Keanu Reeves.
That's what I was going to say.
Because
great.
They wanted Keanu Reeves in this movie, but it ended up not working out. And I think he's going to be the big bad that they have to face. But the Ryan Reynolds one would make sense too. It kind of sounded like him.
Uh-huh.
A little bit, yeah.
So one thing that I watched, but I didn't really talk to Keith about yet, but I talked to you a little bit about it, Jake, is I finally watched The Shawshank Redemption. And I know, Keith, you haven't seen it, right?
Still haven't seen it. Yeah, still haven't watched it.
For some reason, I thought more of us haven't seen it, but Jake, you've seen it. I guess all of them have. I guess Brian and Gio have seen it too. So you and I were the only ones who hadn't seen it.
It's a big hole in my resume.
Keith, it was the biggest hole in my resume as well. And oh my goodness, it's absolutely incredible.
Yeah. I know.
I don't know. Do you guys ever get this feeling when you watch such a great movie and you have this joy in you for the next 2 days? I had that feeling
that's great.
For the next 2 days after watching Shawshank Redemption. It is awesome. So good. And it's hard because you hear about these classics that are all-time greats and you're kind of afraid to watch them because you don't want to be disappointed. And it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. So if you haven't watched Shawshank Redemption, you definitely should. It's on I believe it's on Netflix.
I think it's on Netflix.
Where I watched it, yeah.
It should be on Netflix. Yeah.
What?
Well, Jacob, you also watched something else you mentioned earlier.
Alien. Yeah, that's on my list as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's my other one.
I knew that would get Keith going. I knew that.
Yeah, I just watched Alien for the first time, which you guys know it was on the list as marked as unwatched by me, and nobody ever challenged. Maybe it was in the bowl at some point, and I didn't know.
I don't think I caught that. I would have challenged you.
So I saw it on the list, and I was like, Alien. I haven't seen Alien, and I was thinking that to myself. And then it was an optional movie to watch for my horror class in school, to do a extra paper on. And so I was like, all right, perfect. And I watched it and I loved it. It's so good because in my horror class, we were studying slasher films. And at that point, because we watched Halloween, right? Which I've seen plenty of times, but and then they were saying that Alien was a sci-fi horror movie that treated it like a slasher movie where it's picking off characters one by one, but it's this big alien creature. Yep. And I swear to you, I was scared watching that movie. I was legit freaked out because just being I get claustrophobic a little bit, so I'm they're on this ship, there's nowhere to escape, and there's this alien creature, and just seeing the thing come out of his chest and all this stuff. And how did it grow so fast? Did they talk about that?
Now do you see why we dislike the new Alien movie so much?
Yeah. Probably. And the funny thing is I've seen Prometheus and Alien Covenant. Yeah. And I've never watched Alien. And now I need to watch Aliens.
Yes.
Have you not seen that?
And that one's considered a lot of people the better.
It's considered, a lot of people say it's better.
James Cameron directed that one, and he kind of turned Alien into Alien to what we know it as. I go back and forth all the time, but
same here. Yeah, I saw Aliens first.
Oh, really?
Yeah, okay. I saw Alien maybe a few years later. I was maybe about 14 or 15, but because they're totally different movies. you know,
So,
alien.
well,
It's just one.
Well, Ripley's in it, right? Obviously,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So do they treat her like, oh, she's this vet who defeated the alien?
No.
No,
Not really.
she. So you know how Sarah Connor is to the Terminator franchise?
Yeah.
That's how Ripley turns into the Alien franchise.
Well, yeah, and I'll say
Okay.
aliens. I'll just say this, and it's not a spoiler, but it starts. She's got some major PTSD about what happened.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's kind of
And-
how Sarah Connor is. Like, she's all
Yeah.
paranoid and just like, okay, that actually makes sense.
And
That
you'll
makes sense.
get Michael Biehn, who we talked about earlier on Padawan, and then you also get the great late Bill Paxton as well.
Nice.
Oh, Bill Paxton's so great.
Yeah, considering how much I loved the first one.
The only person to fight Alien, Predator, and Terminator, Bill Paxton.
Terminator. Yeah.
Nice. So the funny thing is, so I wrote my paper on Alien, a paper, like a 1-page paper, and I talked about how like the franchise is so like recognizable, like it became blockbuster type thing, and I referenced how it's referenced in Infinity War, and then I went and watched the scene, and he says aliens in the scene. Spider-Man says, have you ever seen that really old movie Aliens? But the thing is, they use that technique where they shoot the alien out of the ship in both movies.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you did.
No,
okay. Okay.
So that's the thing. No, I heard about that, but I'm like, so how come he said aliens and not alien? Is what I'm wondering. But I guess Aliens was the more popular movie, maybe.
No, because Aliens. At a certain point, it kind of just repeats what happened in Alien. Just without spoiling, but
it's also
once you
closer
see
to
it,
his
you'll-
age in the movie, probably too. Tom Holland.
Yeah. Very true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think you're right. But I think Aliens is probably the more popular one, but because there's more action.
It's a bigger movie, right? Like,
Yeah,
I mean, because
yeah.
Alien is pretty like, other than the space shots and everything, it's pretty like contained.
Well,
Yeah,
it's funny. It's funny. You can look at Terminator and Alien very similar. Where the first
true.
The
That's
first
a good
movies
point.
are horror, and the second one are
Yeah.
very action oriented.
Action. Yeah, 100%.
That's a great point. Yeah,
And instead
are
of
they
one,
called
there's 50.
xenomorphs? Right?
Yeah.
I didn't hear that until Prometheus. I never. Did
I
call them
think
that in?
they might be called xenomorphs later on in the franchise. I don't think the first two movies
Okay.
called them anything.
No.
Man,
Yeah.
I've seen aliens before, obviously, like because I've seen Alien versus Predator, like, but just seeing that
That's a
one
guilty
in this
pleasure right there.
one movie.
That's a
was just,
good one. I wish I'd thought of that because I love that movie.
Those creatures are so terrifying.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Just
Yeah,
wait.
They really are.
Just wait.
Yeah,
just
Like,
wait.
oh, dude, that freaked me out when the thing was on his face. Like I felt like I couldn't breathe.
The face hugger. They call him the face hugger.
Oh, listen.
Yeah. Yeah.
When they first get to that, never mind. The aliens. You're not gonna,
Just watch the second one. Watch the second
If
one.
that ever
Yeah,
happens to me, just end it. Just end it.
yeah.
So, Jake, do you have any other stuff you've been watching recently?
Yeah, I've been watching a lot during quarantine, man. On top of my regular,
because you watch a lot non-quarantine.
Yeah. On my I have my regular weekly TV shows that I watch. Like Survivor and The Challenge and all the CW stuff and everything like that. I've been doing a James Bond rewatch. I've been watching the entire franchise.
Oh, that's
from
right.
the beginning.
I want to hear about this.
I'm 4 in right now. The Sean Connerys.
Okay.
Exactly. It's funny because they were all free on Amazon last month, but now I have to pay for them. So I'm spacing my time out.
Of course.
It might be like a monthly thing. I'm not sure. So I have to space it out a little bit more.
Are they not on? Because they were all on Hulu at one point as well.
Oh, then I gotta check on Hulu because I have to look
Hulu
because they were free on Amazon and I was just watching them on Amazon, but now I have to rent them. So I don't know what happened there.
Yeah. So I like on Hulu, I look up a movie and it says it's on Hulu, but then it has to go through like Stars or something, and I'm like, what the hell? But Stand By Me was actually on. You could watch it on IMDb TV for free.
Which I watched it on through Amazon.
Yeah.
And it came with commercials, but there were only like 3 commercials throughout the entire thing. It was easy. But yeah, so I've been doing the James Bond rewatch. The Sean Connery movies are awesome. I can't believe how much they could get away with as far as the sexualization of women in these movies. It is like The first movie I watched, Sean Connery literally just slapped a woman on the ass. Like, are you serious? Like that would never like that
No,
would
they
never,
would never
ever,
do that in the movie.
ever
a lot
be
of that,
allowed.
a lot of that too was him.
Yeah, exactly. But outside of the movies, I just binge watched the new Amazon movie or show Upload. Highly recommend the show. It stars Robbie Amell, Stephen Amell's cousin. He played Firestorm in the Arrowverse.
Oh, okay.
He's really the only recognizable name in the show. So the premise of the show is that it's set in a distant future, or not distant future, a near future, and there's technology that allows you to, and it's all based on how much you have as far as money. When you die, you can go to a virtual heaven, and you can still be like a physical being. Like your consciousness can be upload to a virtual heaven. But here's the kicker: you can still communicate with the real world.
Wow.
And so he
crazy.
dies. So he dies in the first episode. It's not a spoiler. It happens in the trailer. And then all these things start to unfold. And he's uploaded to a virtual heaven. He goes to his own funeral. Like he makes phone calls with people in the real world. Like all these things are happening. And there's a premise that he was creating his own version of a virtual heaven in the real life. He was a programmer, and it was going to be for people who could afford it. And the premise of the story is that was he murdered? Was he not murdered? And it kind of plays into that as well.
That sounds interesting. Like,
and it's only a 30-minute show. It's only a 30-minute show.
What is it on?
Oh, it's a show. I thought it was a movie.
It's on Amazon. It's a 30-minute show.
Ooh, I gotta watch that.
And it's 10 episodes. So it's really five 1-hour episodes.
I'm sure it's very different, but Keith, it kind of reminds me of The Good Place in a way, like a little bit, just as far as afterlife stuff.
So it's from the creator of The Office and Parks and Rec.
Really?
Sure.
Interesting.
Greg Daniels.
Greg Daniels. Okay, yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I might start watching that
great.
tonight, to be honest.
Great.
Like, it's
really good.
And it's Robbie Amell.
Dude,
good for him, man.
Yeah.
He got
it already got picked up. It already got picked up for a second season.
Universe and everything. So
nice.
Good for him. That's awesome. I'm definitely checking that out. Keith, what about you, man? Any more stuff?
Yes. I rewatched something. I haven't watched this since it came out, but we probably should have said this when Gio was on because he loves this movie. But The Social Network.
Oh, okay.
I hadn't seen that in I'd like when it came out. The last time I saw it, it was 10 years, it was 2010, maybe 2011, 10, whatever.
Somewhere around
like
there,
that.
Such a great movie.
I've been wanting to rewatch it too. I have been. I saw a clip. I saw the clip of him in The Office when they're with the lawyers, and he was doing some spiel, and I was like, okay, maybe I do want to rewatch this movie.
I'm telling you, especially watching him now with all those depositions and appearing before Congress and stuff. It's like, oh yeah, that's exactly how he is. Like I could see why he didn't like it, but yeah, he's just like that. But that's a great movie, man. And
Fincher.
Yes, I don't know what's the last thing he did.
Gone Girl was the last movie he did.
Is that the last movie he did?
Yeah, he's been working on Mindhunters on Netflix.
Oh, that is his show. Yeah, he's
David Fincher's my
by the
favorite.
way. Great,
he's my favorite director of all time. I wish he would direct more.
So yes, he's up there, and I actually went back to back and watched the Wolverine and Logan.
Nice.
Oh wow!
I forgot how great the Wolverine is until the last 30 minutes, which it really just turns to a completely different movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm starting to come around on Mangold, man, with Jacob here, man. I'm starting to lean a little more. Starting to lean a little more towards
the poster right here.
yeah. That guy, man, he's something else. And I haven't watched Ford v Ferrari since I saw it in the theater. But man, those are two great movies, man. Logan is right, but I'm watching. I'm like, this movie's so good.
There might be another one, but his only questionable movie is Kate and Leopold, which I still enjoy.
It's a good movie. Yeah, I like that movie. Actually, pretty good.
Yeah.
You made me remind me of one. So I do want to add real quick. If anybody can get their hands on the black and white version of Logan, Watch
Yeah.
that movie.
Yeah, it's really good.
The noir. I have the noir. It's incredible.
I think it comes with the Blu-ray, right? Like you.
I
came with
think
it,
you
yeah.
might. I think there was a set you could buy that had the noir.
Yeah, I think I
version in
have
Yeah.
it. I've never
Watch
watched
the
it
new.
though.
It's incredible. But that led me to what I was thinking of this last week, and you guys probably won't care, but it was the 5-year anniversary of Mad Max Fury Road, and I watched the black and white version of Fury Road. That movie is a masterpiece.
Was it the
That
first
movie-
time watching the black and white?
Yeah, it's the first one. It's the first time I watched the black and
okay.
white version.
I didn't know there
It
was
is
a black and white version.
It's an app. They call it the Chrome Edition. It is it's a masterpiece. It's so beautiful. I know you guys aren't a fan of it, but it's
I've
just
never heard of that movie.
to
but
me
sounds
it is
cool.
it is just seamless film.
Yeah.
It's so absolutely perfect to me. I did that rewatch last week, so
I need to watch that
No.
again. I need to give that another.
I'm gonna have to revisit it because
Yeah.
look. It's only fair. Like it's not like I hated it or anything like that.
you talk like you do.
No, I don't. The thing is, you guys like it too much.
No, there's no such thing. There's no such thing.
I just think it was a notch below being nominated for Best Picture is my issue with it. But hey, look, I might
Wasn't better than
rewatch
Sicario.
it. I might
You think
rewatch it tomorrow, and it's the greatest movie.
I had
I've
it
ever
above
seen. Who
Sicario,
knows?
Keith. Sorry.
God.
Hey, it's not as bad
Sicario
as this guy.
even-
Not as bad as this guy. Which way am I going? This way. This
Sicario
way.
wasn't even nominated for Best Picture.
I know, which is a shame.
Yeah, it was crazy. I know.
Sham. Yeah.
I like Sicario more than Mad Max Fury Road, though. Yeah. So, one thing I watched that you guys have both seen is I watched Sonic the Hedgehog finally.
Nice.
I watched that again too. Yeah.
It's a fun movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
Isn't
fun
it?
movie. It's not great, but it's fun.
I
Like it's
love it.
not bad. It's not.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it a
The
bad
end
movie.
the end sequence is so badass.
Isn't it cool?
Uh,
Yeah, right.
Oh,
Yeah.
like the fight
Yeah.
at the end. Yeah, it really is. And like,
How great
is
is Jim Carrey?
it Ben Schwartz? Ben
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yeah,
Ben
Ben
Schwartz,
Schwartz. Yeah.
He was the perfect voice for Sonic.
Perfect.
And James Marsden is just like he's so perfect for that kind of role.
Is he?
Like just
I
like
know.
the goofy
Yeah.
cop. Like he was so perfect for that. And I just really enjoyed it. Like we talk about how much video game movies suck, but like look at recently like Tomb Raider, Sonic, like it's getting
Pikachu?
better. Yeah, Detective
Pikachu,
Pikachu. Like they're all like pretty good. Like they're not like
Yeah, right.
dumpster
And they're
fires, you know?
they're the unusual properties too.
Yeah, they're not like the most popular video games in the
Mhm.
world.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then they have did you guys see the end credit scene?
Yes.
Yes. With
With Tails? Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you guys both saw it, I was gonna ask you, were there any other characters from the Sonic universe in the movie? But I didn't want to spoil it for myself. So yeah, that was pretty cool. So I enjoyed it. Like I played Sonic the Hedgehog as a kid, like a lot. I used to have a Sega, which Sega's like the ugly stepchild to Nintendo.
Sega over Nintendo, bro.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Well, I'm saying
Hell
like
yeah.
Nintendo went on to become the more popular, sustainable like system. I'm not
Nintendo's
saying
more
which one I
popular,
prefer,
for sure, but
but like
Sega's
as
better.
far, but I liked Sega, man. I believe like Tekken
Sega's
was
better.
on Sega and
Mhm.
things like that.
yeah, it was.
The only edge
Street
I give
Fighter,
Nintendo for is for Donkey Kong Country. It's my favorite old school game of all time. I have the Nintendo NES right here, and I can't find a Nintendo Switch for the life of me. Like
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm gonna have to go
that's crazy.
wait in
They're all done.
line at a Target every day of the week at 6 a.m. in order to get one because they're not.
Yeah.
They're nowhere, and I'm not paying $500 for one. Like, but I want one.
No, same here.
If you guys know anyone, let me know. But yeah, that was all I had. Like big things that I had to watch. Did you guys have any other things that you've been watching lately?
Those are the two big things.
Yeah.
I watch too much as it is. I don't want to ramble
Yeah.
on about everything.
Keith,
But,
any
Jake,
last
so
mentions?
you're in the. Well, I just asked. So back to Bond really quick. So you're watching the Sean Connery ones. You haven't gotten to the Roger Moore ones yet.
No, so it's funny. I found out because I made sure that I was going in chronological order.
Right.
Sean Connery did 5, then he took 6 off,
Yeah.
then he came back for 7, then he took
Yeah.
like 2 or 3 more off, then he came back for another one.
For one more.
So, so I'm excited to see how that goes. I know that they're all separate, but yeah, I'm in the
Yeah.
midst of the Sean Connery ones right now.
Okay. I can't wait to hear it. Okay, I'm so happy you're doing this.
Man, I need to get in on that because
It's so fun. You know how I
you
love
get to
James
the-
Bond, and No Time to Die was like my most anticipated movie of the year, on top of Dune, and I'm a huge James Bond fan, and so I'm excited. And most of these I'm watching for the first time, and so it's a really cool look back at it.
Yeah.
Bond is something that like I want to get into more. Like it's like Star Trek and Bond. I need to really get into. That's what I need to do with my time is get into Star Trek. That's
Yes, you do. Real quick, I did one more thing I just mentioned because you guys will be happy. I finished Clone Wars. Those last 4 episodes is probably the best Star Wars stuff I think I've seen.
Yeah. Since Mandalorian.
Further back than that, man. Since I don't know, it's the best. It's legitimately, and seriously, it's the best. Some of the best Star Wars stuff I've seen.
I agree.
Wasn't it great how it tied into Revenge of the Sith?
I love the way it was. I was fully expecting it to end right at the beginning of the Coruscant attack.
That's in the first of the 4 episodes.
Yeah, right. I was not expecting that at all. They're like, "Well, where's Anakin? Oh, we got to go rescue the Chancellor." I'm like, "Oh, wow, okay." So I love that they kept the focus on Ahsoka, and what a nightmare what she had to go through. I love the way that they kind of recreated that one scene where they're talking about the Chancellor. If he doesn't give up his emergency powers, blah, 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 blah. Like, oh wow, that's the exact scene. He just animated it, and then Ahsoka walks in, and it just I really love it. I love the stuff with Maul. Those last, I don't know, minute or so of that last episode was some of the best looking animation I've ever seen. Because they did what's it called with Darth Maul? Yeah. With Ray Park. They did the motion capture, with Ray Park. Was that Hoth?
No.
Are we sure? Why not?
Well, I mean, as far as we know, Hoth is a frozen planet all year long.
But there may have been a part of it that just wasn't frozen that time of year.
I mean, maybe, but don't you think? I mean, I guess it's left up for debate. But I always go back to like, would a Wampa survive on a desert planet?
Well, maybe not. I mean, unless they go to a part. I don't know.
Maybe they hibernate like bears. I don't know.
Migrate to a.
Yeah, like there are some arguments that Jake could have said that would have been debatable, but that Wampa argument is probably not debatable. It's like end of discussion.
So I didn't have anything for it. I was like, well, yeah, maybe. But I mean,
you were like ready for a response, but you're like, wait a minute, he's right.
Yeah, I don't. But I just don't understand why it's. You see, Ice Planet, and you see the probe droid thing. Like it's clearly that had to be Hoth. I would imagine that was Hoth, but. If it was, I mean, it would have been well after they fought in Rebels.
I thought about that too, and when they first revealed the planet, I thought it was like revealed to be some planet that we know, but it was like they didn't say that it was.
Yeah, I just wondering about that.
For sure. All right, well, let's move on to our homework assignment segment. Which Keith, you wanted Jake to be here for this for some reason. I don't even know why he wanted Jake to be here for this. I didn't ask. And cool shirt, by the way, Jake. And
thank you.
I love it. Cool so good. Hey, good job, man. Seriously, you're doing really great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I love the name. I want to be on that because those are two things
I'm going to get, trust me, I'm getting the hang of everything, and I'm getting every single one of you guys on solo. 100%.
I've got
I can drink Fireball on your show.
Right? It's considered whiskey.
It's considered whiskey. All right,
got a Woodford Reserve right here ready to go.
When we did our last episode 7 years ago, I challenged Keith to watch at least the way our homework assignments work is like we can challenge each other to a movie or the first 2 episodes of like an hour-long drama or the first 4 episodes of a sitcom. So I challenged Keith to the first 2 episodes of Breaking Bad, which he challenged me the one episode before that to Peaky Blinders. The first 2 episodes, and I absolutely loved them. And look, I'm finishing Mad Men. Once I'm done with Mad Men, I'm going to Peaky Blinders. And I told Keith, I was like I told Keith, I never felt so much excitement to watch a show since Game of Thrones. But the thing is, for me,
oh my god,
I can't stop watching Mad Men and then just start watching Peaky Blinders. Like I have to finish Mad Men first.
It might be the most underrated television show on period. Like period.
I wouldn't be surprised because a lot of people know it, but it's not like just like it should be like mentioned with. It should be more popular than Stranger Things. Like,
I agree.
Yeah,
but it's not. I mean, it's very adult, so I guess
it's very adult.
But dude, I absolutely loved it. Like,
just wait till Tom Hardy shows up, Jacob.
I've only watched the first.
Telling you, I told him that.
And Anya Taylor-Joy's in it.
Oh man,
can't wait.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Keith was challenged to watch Breaking Bad, and I've been waiting for this for years, man. So Keith, what did you think?
Oh man, so I really wanted to get into this. Like I said, since I had you watch The Sopranos too as well. I know you.
Oh yeah.
You need to get on Breaking Bad, and I've always wanted to get into it. Excuse me, I'm sorry. And it just was a matter of me just putting it on the screen and clicking play. Right. Sometimes you gotta just make yourself just start it and see what happens. So I'm glad you've actually just challenged me to watch it. Yeah, these first 2 episodes are pretty great, and I really got I could see right away. Like, this is 2008, which I didn't realize it was that far back or something like that.
Yeah,
it was early on.
Yeah, I didn't know it was that long ago.
Finished in 13, right? I think.
And, I saw that. I went, wow, it's that long ago. So I really enjoyed it. I love Bryan Cranston so much. He's so, you can really get to. It's very dreary. Just like it just doesn't seem like anything good is gonna. You could it just feels like doom and gloom. The way he gets really sick, and he's got this crappy car wash job, and being a teacher, and the way they introduce Aaron Paul, because Aaron Paul, it got me excited because he shows up in Westworld in season 3 of Westworld. Yeah, which he's really good on. Have you caught up on that, Jake? You caught up on Westworld?
I finished it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. We'll
talk to me when you're done. Talk to me when you're done. Man.
Oh no, I know. I finished it too.
Oh, you did? Oh, we're gonna have to talk then. We are gonna have to talk then.
Yeah. I have questions as always. but yeah, I'm a really big fan of his. A lot. Like, I really like Aaron Paul, and just the way he just comes up with the idea of doing what he does. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Weeds. I don't know if anybody ever.
I love Weeds. I've seen.
Yeah.
Weeds. Yeah. Except
I never finished it.
She just starts selling weed, where he's a freaking chemist making meth.
Making it. Yeah. But just the idea of like the suburban kind of.
Oh yeah, how really this regular parent just goes into this crazy life. Yeah. And so the premise is totally. I'm in right away, and the way they have to dispose of those bodies, like when he attacks them, it opens kind of the trope, and I remembered. Okay, it's 2008, with the kind of the end, and he's running from something, and he makes that video, and it's and then
this is cuts, Walter White, and it cuts to this. I kind of. Like, okay, I forget this is 12 years ago, so there's a lot of that. but you could definitely see right away why people regard. But
doesn't that hook you in when you see him standing there in his underwear, and he's just 100%. And he has a gun in his hand, and you're like, I need to know what happened.
Yeah, I was wondering if that was actually the end. Like, this is the ending, because I heard so much stuff about the ending. Not the spoiler stuff, but I just was wondering how far ahead this actually was. But I enjoyed it so much that I went ahead and just watched the whole first season.
Oh, wow. Wow. I was going to ask that because you said the first 2 episodes were great. And I was like, he only watched the first 2 episodes.
Man.
That's crazy.
I knocked those out in 2 days. Actually, I started the day we were going to do our show. I started it. And then I was like, I just kept watching. I watched the first 4 by the time we were going to shoot that night, and we just we didn't want to doing it. So I went home and watched the rest. And by that Saturday, I'd watched the whole first season.
Wow!
Damn.
And that was madness. That the drug dealer, the crazy 8 guy, and that whole situation. I'm like, what is everything that's happening? I'm like, this is insane,
dude. The acid in the bathtub
that blew me away. I was just watching like, oh my god. I can't believe that was on television. That was the worst thing I've ever seen.
It's network TV too.
Yeah, which blew AMC, right? Was it AMC?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. So I enjoyed that so much. I went ahead and started season 2 and finished that.
Oh
my
my
goodness.
god!
So I went ahead and
I was
knocked out
not
season
expecting
2.
this. I was expecting like maybe 2 or 3 episodes. Wow.
I
So how
enjoyed-
far are you?
I enjoyed season 2 so much. I went ahead and started season 3.
Oh my god!
Okay.
And then I just went ahead and watched the whole thing. So I've actually watched all of Breaking Bad.
Are you kidding me?
And
Holy
I watched
crap.
And I watched El Camino yesterday, and so
Wow.
yes,
Dude, that was so fast. Oh my
and this
goodness.
was nearly a month ago. Jacob, both you guys, like I couldn't stop. I just kept watching every day. I watched
That is so good to
3 or
hear.
4 every day. I'm like, this is legitimately, and having had time to sit and think about it, like I think it might be the best show of all time.
That's what everyone says. That's what
I think it
everyone
might be.
says.
Oh
You know.
my
I
God.
don't
can't
think it
believe
is personally.
I can't.
I don't
believe
think
you
it is
said
personally.
that.
It's up there, but the
I'm having a
majority
hard-
is it's the best show of all time.
Man, I'm having a hard time.
It's my favorite. Like, it's hard to compare this show to like Parks and
Right.
Rec, right? But this is my favorite hour-long drama, like of all
I
time.
nearly started it again. I might actually start it and watch it again. Honestly,
Dude,
this was
now I know why you wanted Jake here for this, because like
Yes.
that is just so shocking.
Yes, yeah.
Oh my
Watch the whole thing,
goodness.
and
Dude, I was talking to you like 3 weeks ago, like about make sure you watch the
Wow.
first 2 episodes. We're gonna record, and then
oh yeah. Oh, I had already
watched.
I had watched it all by then. I had already finished it.
My
Holy
god!
I
crap,
watched the whole thing. Yeah.
dude,
It
is.
was,
I need to step it up, man. What am I doing? I watched Peaky Blinders like a month ago. The first 2 episodes. I need
Well,
to
Keith, let me
step
ask
my
you this.
game up.
So, since you binged it, and I binged it too, I waited until all 5 seasons had been out already.
You guys are so lucky. I was watching it weekly.
Yeah.
Were you?
So
Okay.
yeah, I was man. I would. My dad was watching it weekly, but I was like, oh, like whatever. Like I wasn't really interested back then.
Yeah.
What did you? How did you feel about the Walter White character towards the end of the show? Like towards his end.
Well, I'll tell you what. So by the time, and Jacob and I talked about this when he did Sopranos, like I legitimately was like, see Tony Soprano and the way James Gandolfini played him, it was like you rooted for him. Like you know he's a terrible person, but he had this charm about him. You can see the way he brings people in. He gets people to just kind of disarms you a little bit, but at the same time he's very threatening and menacing. And he's Walter White. Just by I say maybe the end of season 4 was so unlikable. Like I was not rooting for him at all. I legitimately was like, I want him to get caught. He's terrible.
Yeah.
I really felt for Skylar. She lost me with the affair, of course, but outside of that, I really felt for her. I really felt for the son, of course, and it's every time like Walter it just got so uncomfortable between the 2 of them. Like it was uncomfortable to watch. Like I really felt you could feel her, like the way she just talked about being afraid of him, like and he was just so I don't know how to describe it, but he reached a point where, and he even admitted it, I think in the last episode, he was like, everything I did, I liked it. I became good at it. I liked it. And he really became this monster of a person.
Yeah, and he's not like charming like Anthony
all.
Soprano. Like he's just is what he is. But you like him at first. Like I like Walter at first, and then you feel bad for him because of his old partner screwed him out of that business, and all that stuff. And
and he has the cancer,
exactly,
and
right, and he just struggling to make ends meet, and she's pregnant, and yeah, you could just all those life struggles. You could definitely feel for him in that sense. But hey, just make better decisions, man. Like you don't have to. And even I was even okay. Look, he wants to do this thing to make some quick money. I get it. I've known people that have kind of had similar. Like let's do this real quick and get out. Not in a place. First of all, to Albuquerque, New Mexico. I have a friend from high school who lives there. It's a terrible, terrible place. No offense to anyone. No offense to anyone.
Like, it's probably why they chose that as the setting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the type of place where all that stuff would happen.
Man, we're gonna have to do a spoiler discussion, like a whole
That's
episode.
what I was gonna say. I would love
spoiler
to get,
discussion because
Well,
there's so
I have
many
one more question.
questions.
I have one more question.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you knew that it was coming, but how did you react to the Gus killing?
Oh man, so okay, yeah, I vaguely heard something about that a couple years ago. So that was
Okay.
that character, and I'm actually gonna start Better Call Saul. I know he pops up on that. But which, by the way, I love him as well. I love Saul Goodman. I love that whole that whole thing as well. But yeah, that was, man. How could they beat? I'm watching. It's like, how are they gonna?
Yeah, dude,
Bobby's guy,
Giancarlo
like,
Esposito is so
I love
good
him.
on that
So
show.
good.
One of my favorite moments is when he in the under the laundromat when they have that little
The meth lab.
and he cuts that dude's throat, like,
Yeah.
because
Oh, yeah.
before that he was
Man.
all like very calm and collected, and he just cuts his own dude's throat right in front
Killing
of
his
him.
own
And I
guys.
was like,
Yeah.
oh my god! And they like show the throat slit on TV.
Right.
I'm like, damn.
And he
When
owned
he
a fried
took
chicken
out-
fast food restaurant during the day.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that laundry place, and like
Moff
the
Gideon
way he-
don't play, man.
the way he took him off Gideon. That's right. The way he took out that cartel, that whole cartel with that point, like I was just like, oh my god, this guy. There's no
Right?
like, what are they gonna do? Like, how are they
Should
gonna
be
get-
should he be included in our
Man.
villains draft?
Yes. Oh, it's TV though. Ooh.
I wouldn't mind, but yeah, if we want to include TV, then heck, yeah, sure.
Is he in El Camino? Does he make? I can't remember.
No, he's not. He's not. Yeah, so I just watched that yesterday, and it's really good. It's like a 2-hour episode of the show.
That's
really,
fine.
but-
It's just it feels like another episode of Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Like it's
Which I really-
I didn't love it, but it's fine.
It was unnecessary.
What did you? Yeah, see, I didn't mind it, like, because I was glad to see, because the only character, Jesse's the only one, like, he's the least worst of all the people there, like, he's the one you actually was rooting for. And so I'm glad he actually did get away, like he said, he was trying to do almost the whole time. Like with Jessica Jones, they were going to go move to wherever, I don't know.
Yeah.
But so I was glad that he did eventually get away, but yeah, I unnecessary, but I mean I didn't mind it. I thought it was a nice little bow on the series.
Man,
so.
Keith, you totally I was not expecting you to finish the full series. That is crazy, man.
Right.
Move on to Sons of Anarchy now.
Yes,
Move on.
that's
to
what
Sons
I was
of
gonna
Anarchy.
say. Now that because you guys were talking
Oh.
about that, you asked
Yeah.
Jake which one you think he should start, and he said
Uh-huh.
for you
That's
Breaking
right.
Bad. But now
Yeah, that's
you
right.
can start Sons of Anarchy.
You're gonna, dude.
Okay.
You'll be hooked. You'll be hooked on Sons of Anarchy.
Keith, we're gonna do a
That's over too, right? Is that over?
yeah, it is. Keith, we're gonna do a
Okay.
spoilers review of Breaking Bad, and then when you're done with
Yep.
Sons of Anarchy, me, you, and Jake will do a spoiler review of
I might
Sons of
rewatch it.
Anarchy.
I've been thinking
Yeah.
about rewatching it. I might rewatch it.
That's a perfect time. Let us know when you start, Keith. Maybe I'll rewatch it too. Well, thank you for joining us, Jake. Man, that was fun. I appreciate it.
Yes.
Thank you
Always.
for engineering, and hopefully we'll get you on again soon.
Yes, always happy
Yes.
to join, boys. Have a good one.
All right, man. Take care.
Later.
Later.
Bye. Alrighty. Well, we will have incorrect names, but correct figures next to our names. Hey, it's kind of cool. It's like a mix-up. Dude, I can't believe you watched that much of Breaking Bad. That is insane.
Yeah, man.
I have so
Yeah.
many questions to ask you, but I want to save them for spoiler discussions because
I want to
But
do it soon. I've been dying to talk about it. So.
isn't Hank one of the greatest television characters ever?
He
Like
absolutely-
I love Hank.
I didn't know that I was going to like him at first because he's like, okay,
Oh,
this
I mean,
guy
at
is
first you don't like
another
him, yeah.
jerk, racist cop making racist jokes. And
Mhm.
he clearly, I think he is a good guy. He just,
Oh, he's an asshole.
I loved his,
like at
yeah,
times.
absolutely,
Yeah.
right. I think he just looks down really on crime and criminals, and it's
Yeah.
kind of a class situation, and that's why he does what he does. But I did like him a lot. It really kind of reminds me. Well, yeah, there's a person in.
Well,
my,
he's kind of like he's one of those
family around here,
egotist,
so.
those male ego guys where like he talks shit to people like because he's insecure about himself. So like
yes,
he's always talking crap to everybody,
right. Didn't want to show any weakness. He was clearly going through PTSD with all the stuff that kept happening to him. And
Dude, and
But-
the Walt Whitman and Walter
that
Walter
was
White thing, dude.
when he
So
made the
good.
discovery after my way. Oh Oh no, he
Yeah.
knows.
So,
Oh my God.
like,
I
I've only
yeah.
watched like the first 5 episodes of Better Call Saul, so maybe I can join you on that, and then we can
I'm
start
hearing
reviewing it.
I hear it's really great. I can't wait to get started on that.
Yeah, you got me excited for Breaking Bad again, man. It is like my favorite show of all time.
It's up there for me, man.
like,
I think it might be.
Sopranos is definitely like in my top 5. Like, and that was recent for me, so
Yeah.
it's up there. It's like it's Sopranos, Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad. I mean, there's a few Entourage,
Yeah.
a couple other ones, but yeah, man, that's awesome. Okay, cool. So, do you have a new assignment for me?
Yes, I do. It's a movie by Danny Boyle, and I've told you about it before, so you'll recognize it. But the movie Sunshine.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you did mention it.
Yeah. Because I actually just bought it today because I want to watch it again. I heard somebody else talking about it on another podcast. I was like, I want to watch that movie again. It was on HBO for a long time. I think they just took it off maybe earlier this year. But
I'll find it. I don't. There's a lot of movies I've been having to watch lately, and I don't mind paying $2.99 to rent them. Like, because to me, it's like I believe in supporting the things that you enjoy. So, like, if I pay $2.99 to watch a movie, like, it shows whoever's watching that stuff, those analytics, it shows, people still watch movies. So then that eventually later turns into them making more movies in the future. So it's a whole thing. But so I don't mind. I'll pay $2.99 to rent it. It's not available for free.
You weren't challenged for this week for now, were you? I can't remember who got challenged for now.
It wasn't me.
It wasn't you.
Yeah. It was Gio.
I can't remember who it was.
It was Gio.
Okay.
Yeah, and he got challenged by Road Warrior.
Road Warrior, that's right. Okay, all right. Let's make sure it wasn't you. Okay, so well, in that case,
I mean,
we got 2 weeks. So.
Well, yeah, we have 2 weeks. That's why we have 2 weeks. But I will try to get on to some more. What's it called? Peaky Blinders as well.
Peaky Blinders. Yeah.
You talk about that. I think we need to find something that we can review together. I don't know what it should be. Something that we both haven't seen. I don't know. I feel like that would be cool.
Well, maybe, like you said, maybe we'll just do Better Call Saul.
Actually, let's do that then. I mean, I'm down for that. It can just be a segment. Like, it's kind of like a book club where we meet up every 2 weeks and talk about the last. So if you start it, let me know, and then let me know like where you end up, and I'll watch those same amount of episodes. Like, I don't know how long the first season is, but whatever's realistic, like.
Yeah.
First 5 episodes or something like that. Just let me know. So I didn't have a literature segment prepared. Did you? Because I didn't know how much time we would have with the guests. And everything.
Yeah. I didn't have anything.
No, we're good. We'll go ahead. We'll do it. We'll do it next time. But because we had the guests, so it prolonged our conversation. But that is going to do it for Bartley and Barnes this week. Man, that was fun. That felt good. Doing our segments again, but also bringing those guys on to join us. So that was definitely awesome.
100%.
All right, man. Well, you take care. I'll talk to you again before then, but I'll see you in 2 weeks on Bartley and Barnes.
Absolutely. Oh, wait, you know what? We should plug our appearance on Wednesday.
Bartley and Barnes from Apocaflix Movies.
Yes.
We're from both. We're going to be on a little podcast, your buddy's podcast, right? Called Panic at the Costco.
Panic at the Costco, yes. A friend of mine named Scott McGinnis, him and his friend Aaron, they are out in Richmond, Virginia. I'm from Virginia Beach. We're from Virginia Beach, but he's in Richmond now. And he's got that podcast going. It's just about how everyone's dealing with the quarantine and the lockdown and stay at home and shelter in place and all that stuff here.
I saw their YouTube channel. They have a really clever logo with the
isn't it? Yeah,
picture with the toilet paper and all that. My question is though, what are they going to do when the quarantine's over? Are they still going to do? But I guess look, the quarantine and the effects of the quarantine are going to be for a long time.
Oh, a very long time.
Maybe they just analyze society post quarantine.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. What things have.
I'm gonna ask them that what their plan is with this podcast. Like after. Yeah. They could still do something with it, I think.
Absolutely.
So Jacob Bartley and Keith Barnes, we will be on Panic at the Costco later this week. So go ahead and check that out. And that's going to do it for this episode of Bartley and Barnes. Thank you, everybody, for watching us. We appreciate it. We will see you all in a couple weeks.